We are talking about this now, and joining me is the Washington Free Beacon senior investigative reporter, Alana Goodman. Alana, thanks very much for being here. One of these oligarchs is Miss Baturina, and Baturina is the wife of the former mayor of Moscow who sent Hunter Biden a check for $5 million. Also, the Russians who were watching all of their friends, the oligarchs, get sanctioned, they were not sanctioned. Your reaction?
Right. I mean, this is really disturbing allegations if any sanctions decisions were made based on this. President Biden apparently was ignoring requests for comment on this week, and I really think he just needs to address this. The White House needs to address this because this is another example of this appearance of special treatment for Hunter Biden. We also heard this week that the Treasury Department has apparently been blocking the House Oversight Committee from getting certain financial records related to their investigation into Hunter Biden. And so you have similar cases like this. And I think the White House needs to address them. And this is also why Republicans have been calling for a special counsel into the federal investigation as well, because you need to have more independence between the White House and the issue with Hunter Biden.
Yeah, I think you make a great point because James Comer wants to see the 150 suspicious activity reports, but they have not allowed those records to get to the chairman of the Oversight Committee. You've been reporting a lot on the foreign donations flowing into Joe Biden's affiliates and his affiliated think tanks, like the one to the University of Delaware. You call them, quote, a sketchier version of the Clinton Foundation. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I think the biggest concern here is that you have these two Biden think tanks, one at the University of Pennsylvania and the other at the University of Delaware. And the question is, was there any connection between the millions of dollars in foreign donations that were pouring into these universities and the fact that they had these Biden think tanks that were operating on the campuses? And, you know, this is a very big concern because we know that foreign governments use donations to American universities to try to gain influence. This is particularly true of China. And we had we found that $6.5 million went to the University of Delaware from China. Penn took over $60 million from China since these Biden centers opened on their campuses. So was there any connection between that and these foreign donations? And when you have senior administration officials who were working at these Biden think tanks, when you have the one at University of Delaware, which is still run by Biden's sister, you have a potential for a big problem there with conflicts of interest.
That's incredible. And of course, there's 1,850 boxes of documents that Biden sent to the University of Delaware. And a lot of the people who were at the University of Pennsylvania are now in Biden's cabinet, right? You've got the ambassador to Canada. He was the chairman of the board. He got the job as ambassador. You have, of course, the president of the university, and she is now also an ambassador. You've got Anthony Blinken was
right?
also
Secretary.
Part of the University of Pennsylvania, and he's now the Secretary of State. I'm sorry?
Right. And also Colin Kahl at Defense as well. So, there are a lot of examples of this, and it definitely raises questions.
You've also been working on a piece on corporations attempting to boycott Twitter. Once Elon Musk bought the social media giant, you found out that eBay's founder was helping to fund what you call an anti-Musk group. Tell me about that.
Right, and it's Pierre Omidyar. And it's interesting. Omidyar is one of the biggest donors to dark money Democratic groups. So I think this really shows the concerns that Democrats have with Elon Musk and his takeover of Twitter. I mean, you know, politicians, they spend a lot of money on campaign advertising. And when you have a social media platform, it's kind of like free advertising for these campaigns. And so, you know, one way to go about it is to go after your political opponents and basically stop them from being able to use this, as we saw happened with Donald Trump and as we saw with the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story in 2020. And so I think that that is really what's driving these Democratic concerns about Elon Musk. And I also think that it's very interesting that you have one of these major Democratic donors who is funding not just this group Accountable Tech that had been leading the boycott campaign against Musk, but also several other groups. You found that he had given about $2 million to a handful of other organizations that had been targeting Musk. So very interesting to find that that is somebody who's been bankrolling some of these groups.
So you say that the Democrats are I mean, we learned so much about the Twitter files and how the FBI was in bed with social media, the FBI telling Twitter who to suppress and who to cancel. They wanted to amplify lies about the Biden laptop and suppress the truth right before the 2020 election. But you say Democrats are concerned that they're going to lose the money from big Democrat donors like a Pierre Omidyar.
Well, yeah, I mean, Pierre Omidyar it's very interesting that he's behind this and funding this. I mean, he and Elon Musk actually have a relationship that goes way back, which is kind of interesting. Some might even argue that he was responsible for Elon Musk's early rise in career because he bought PayPal back in 2001, and that was $1.5 billion from Elon Musk. That was a really big break for Musk. That kind of put him on the path to where he is today. So they do have this personal history as well that is kind of interesting, and it does make you wonder, is there a personal part of this beyond just political? Because obviously Omidyar is a big Democratic donor as well.
Yeah. All right, Alana, great work. Thanks very much for being here this morning. Alana Goodman joining us, the Washington Free Beacon.